Hi there, I'm Michelle Frost, the host of the Fit Mind, Fit Body podcast. Welcome to the Delirious West series, where we follow everyday runners preparing for the Delirious West 100 and 200 mile events in April 2025. In today's update, we'll check in with one of our athletes to hear how their training is progressing, the challenges they're facing, and the victories that keep them moving forward. Whether you're training for your first ultra or simply enjoy inspiring stories, you're in the right place. Let's dive in and see how our athlete is doing this month. Today on Fit Mind, Fit Body, we are checking in with another delirious athlete. James Sawyer, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm really good. So how's the training been going? How did you survive Christmas and New Year and keep your training up?
Yeah, no, it went good actually. So I can't remember. We just spoke just before Christmas, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Just before Christmas.
So me and the wife went down to the beach house in Point Perrin, and we did a 4 or 5 day stint down there. I think it was 4 days in the end, where I would get up in the morning, I'd do 10K on the sand run, come back, jump in the kayak. She would swim for 7Ks. I would kayak for 7Ks, and then I would do a kilometre swim afterwards. So we did that 4 days in a row, and then we'd be home by lunchtime, pretty much have 2 beers and a wine, and then just go sleep.
Just chill.
Yeah. So, but it was good. I got out of it what I needed to get out of it. With Katie swimming to Rottnest in I think 3 weeks now. She also got out of it what she needed to get out of it too. So,
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Now,
so.
I feel like I noticed on Facebook the other day, and I'm going to mention it now or I'll forget. Why do you go for Hobart Hurricanes?
so it's funny. I actually convinced my nephew and my daughter as well. Everyone's Scorchers mad here. All WA are Scorchers mad. I've always gone for West Australian teams, being born and bred here.
Yeah.
And when BBL started, I love my cricket. And when Darcy Short and Dunk used to open the batting for them, I just loved the way they played. And I just sat there one day and I'm like, I don't have allegiance to anyone, so I'm just going to go for Hobart.
For the Tassie team.
Also, the joke was a little bit as well that Tasmania is always my place where I'm going to disappear to one day when I don't want anyone to find me. So,
because no one comes here. So.
No, more in the fact that I've never actually been yet, but from what I've researched, it's right up my alley in the sense of the adventure side of things. Probably a bit probably cold, but that's something I can deal with. So yeah,
it's kind of like a cooler Western Australia, smaller, like as in it's remote compared to the rest of Australia. But it's not so remote as in it's only 1 hour to get to the eastern seaboard of Australia as opposed to 4 hours or 5 hours.
Yeah. So that's how that come along. And then my brother's obviously not very happy that I convinced his son to go for them. And so does my daughter. And I love the banter between things no matter what it is. So always being on the Eagles. We've got the Eagles and Dockers here obviously in the footy, and that's a bit of banter. But I thought everyone here goes for Scorchers, so why not?
So there's no banter. It's boring. We're all going to the same team.
So and as hopefully on Monday I'll have bragging rights for the whole 12 months because they're in the final. So I
didn't hear that on the radio. Follow it. I did hear it. There you go.
Yeah. So no, it's good. It's a good bit of fun. So
that's cool. Anyway, sorry, you just got a T-shirt on us, and it reminded me that I saw that on Facebook, and I needed to check in. What is that about? Anyway, now I know. So and everyone else knows too.
Yeah.
Go you. That's awesome. So you survived the little Christmas New Year's thing with some awesome little bit of training.
Yeah, so that was just after Christmas. So Christmas, I don't think I ended up running on Christmas Day. Where I ended up the kids went back, and me and the wife were in a bit of a sad that they've gone and stuff. So we just decided to have the afternoon off. And we knew them days were coming up, so we didn't run then. But then I've pretty much run every day since then, I think.
And it's been pretty warm, hasn't it?
So it's 35 degrees now. I don't think I've looked at my outside temp, and it's been under 30, and that's meant getting up at 4:30 in the morning. It's been like 29 degrees most mornings. So the last few days at work have been 40 plus, and then after I get off the phone to you, I'll be driving out to the hills and doing a 21 kilometer. And yeah, it's been quite taxing.
You do that. I don't know how you all do that. I mean, it's probably good training sleep-wise, but
Yeah, it is. And I suppose I don't know, I'm in a bit of a block now where I think this is where I want the work to be done. So if I know I've done the work mentally, then the last 4 weeks I can sort of ease off a little bit. So I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Well, it's about 10 weeks from now. When
Yeah.
this goes out, it'll probably be about 8 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So it's getting
Yeah.
close. Next time we talk, it'll be like single digits.
Yes. Yeah. I had a laugh because I listened to Kev Matthews' last one, and he was on about like obviously doing less Ks and all this and that. And then I thought to myself, I've got him on Facebook. I'm like, you just did 24 park runs, then you've done 100K. I'm like, I don't know what your less Ks is. But
It makes me feel like I'm going backwards.
yeah, because it was like, oh, when you're feeling like it's too much, when to stop. And I think that is the actual tough part, especially in this kind of heat. With me personally, the physical job, coming home. Like yesterday, I did 5K in the morning, worked, then come home and did 12K. So I'm trying. It is taxing the body, but for me, that's just in the bank. But then I will actually stop at some point, especially when my body feels like it needs to, because I actually physically don't think I can keep doing it. So
It does. It makes sense. And
yeah.
as you said, pointing out that you have a physical job, you've got a degree of fitness built in, like the strength work and stuff with bricklaying.
Yeah.
So I think you're probably luckier than those of us like me who sit around on our butt all day.
Yeah. Well, that is the one thing. Like I've heard a few people on the podcast say, and obviously other people that I run with, about the strength work. And I don't do any, but then I do have to remind myself I don't really need to. And it would obviously benefit if I did, because then I could be doing strength work for running. But I just can't. I just can't so mentally get myself to go do it. So
I don't even know how you would fit it in, really. I couldn't.
Well, like Kevin said, like I've been running twice a day. You drop one of the runs to do one of the cross training things, and that's what I have been doing. Not enough of, but with the swimming. So I have been managing to get about 3 or 4K in a week. So it's not heaps, but it's still enough. Normally that would probably be an extra 30K of running. So at least I'm not doing that, and I'm doing the swimming. So that was the reason for the swim run. So
makes sense.
Yeah.
And how's your body feeling?
Yeah, good. I can't complain. I am tired, but like I say, I think that's with job, kids, heat, training, and then obviously juggling everything and that. But the body physically is good. I had a bit of a mishap. I think about 3 weeks ago, me and a mate Ben went out to do one of our long runs, a 50K out in the hills.
Yeah.
It was a Friday after work, and I don't eat much, before run. So I thought I'd change it up and I'll eat a lot, because I was feeling tired and all that.
Yeah.
And I was pretty sick within 4Ks of being into my run.
I see.
So I got to 16K. There were 16K loops, and I just turned around to Ben and I said, I'm not going to do it today. And we've rescheduled for another time. I think next week sometime we've rescheduled it. So I think that one I've learned over time is to just let it go. If it's part of the training run, there's always time to do it again. Whereas if it's game day, if it was an event, then it's a bit different to push through. But I don't think you're going to benefit from anything from being sick. I've been in them situations before. I know I can push through it. But in that, I don't feel like there's any benefit, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And you've got plenty of time. It's not like, You can do the 50 still well and truly a long way from the start line.
And that's what I said to him. And I think he was originally gonna still do it. Then he's like, no. And then I did 21, and then we rescheduled. So it was So that's the only little mishap that I've had. Touch wood, because normally there's something, but everything feels like it's running quite smooth.
Excellent. I love that.
Yeah.
Are you did you say you were going to do some kind of night stuff at some point? Or you're already all over that? I don't know.
Well, I do a lot of my running in the winter in the morning as well. So night stuff doesn't really bother me too much. But next month there's the Yabaroo, that trail, which is 800 meters from my house.
Yeah.
So Sean and Ultra Series do a Yabaroo 50K.
Yeah.
every year. So they've done it for 8 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done all 8 of them. So I'll be going for my 9th one. So that's a little bit of a thing.
You've got
But
an event? Mm-hmm.
but this year, potentially to get a little bit of training in, because I haven't done anything longer than 50K in this sort of training
Yeah.
block. I am in talk with another mate, and we potentially might Friday or Saturday morning, Friday night kind of thing, run a 50K, come back to mine, have a 3-4 hour break, and then go do the event. So
Oh,
yeah,
so
it's
fun.
sort of just breaking it up as if we might, as we would on Delirious,
Yeah.
have that little
Yeah.
break and then and on the tired legs and tired body and tired mind, go out
Yeah.
and do it. So yeah,
Wow. I'm thinking, no, I don't think I've got anything like that planned.
yeah, yeah. But I like to mix it up a little bit and do these different things because I think it keeps it a bit more fresh. So it's only been lightheartedly said. Normally
Yeah.
that gets the wheels in motion, and then all of a sudden I'm doing it. So hopefully that does happen because I wouldn't mind doing that, to be honest. So
I know my coach set me things like, a mission. She said you called it a mission, like to make it
yeah,
more exciting. Like
yeah,
go and
yeah,
do a 6 hour hike with at least 600-meter elevation or whatever. So she
yeah,
said, and I have to work out how am I going to do that? Like I can take, so six
yeah,
hours doesn't, I could do the whole elevation at once, or I could,
yeah.
so things like that. So that I found that's been quite good for my head because I'm like, oh, this will be fun. How can I do
It's
that?
amazing how mentally, if you change the sentence of what you're doing rather than you have to do this to
Yeah.
do it, make it a mission of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
You sort of trick your mind into, oh, I really want to do
I
that.
keep expecting it to write, this is your mission if you choose to accept it.
Yeah.
And this message will explode once you
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
anyway.
So whatever gets you out there, I suppose you got
That's right. Anyway, it works for
Yeah.
me. But I'm
Yeah.
not doing I'm not doing anything as long, but I don't really care.
Oh, no. And again, I think like I've been listening to all the guys on here, and I think um, physically, I think there's only so much training we can do without doing damage anyway.
Yeah.
And the mental game is so strong. Like I can't say anything. I've never run a 200 miler, but I know anything over 100 kilometers is it's such a mental game.
Yeah.
And we often talk about it in our group with Run. How much more training do you actually need to do before it's beneficial, if that makes sense? So say
Yeah.
we're doing a 100 kilometer week. If we were to do 140, is it more beneficial or is it better to have that bit of a
Yeah.
break? So I
Or
think
you're
it's
more
that.
likely to get into it because
It's really the balance game
yeah.
because a lot of it does come down to the mental factor.
Yeah.
We all got to be fit enough to get to the start line and fit enough to do a
Yeah.
bit. But yeah, so
I wonder if all it does is give you that mental toughness.
yeah,
That'll be more rather than looking at, okay, I just did 140 kilometers this week.
yeah,
My measurement would probably be like, oh, I've been out and I did whatever that is hourly,
yeah,
an hour
yeah,
version because I
yeah,
probably wouldn't get to that kilometer rate,
yeah,
but I still spend a lot of time on my feet and
yeah,
having to
yeah.
deal with that and being tired and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, so I think it's just ticking them little boxes for yourself in your own
yeah.
head, thinking you've never.
Yeah.
In my experience, I've never done enough, and I don't think anyone gets to the start line and thinks they've done everything perfectly. And well, maybe there is people out there, but I don't know any of them.
I don't know
But
them either. And they haven't talked to me on the podcast either. So it
I think
helps.
it's ticking as many boxes as you can, so subconsciously, deep down, you know you deserve to be there, but you might not admit it to yourself, I think.
Yeah.
So it's all
Yeah.
mind trickery.
It is. Stop it. Silly mind. So
Yeah.
coming up, you said you've got an event. How far away is that? I did see that actually on Facebook.
Feb, I don't know. So
Sometime?
I think it's 3 weeks.
Okay.
3 weeks.
So probably
Yeah, so-
you'll probably do that before we speak again, I reckon.
Yeah, I would say so.
3 weeks or
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So I've got that in 3 weeks, and like I keep saying, my wife's swim is the following weekend. So then everything will ease down a little bit for her, and yeah,
She'll be
yeah.
supporting you. And then
Yeah, yeah. It's like we got an Australia Day weekend this weekend, so we'll be going down south again, and it'll be big blocks for her to swim, and I'll kayak next to her, and I've been enjoying that, to be honest. It's not. I really like being in the kayak and
I
watching
love
her.
kayaking.
Yeah, and watching her swim, and just next to her, and
Yeah.
when they need something to eat or drink, I'm there. So it's
How
it's
do you
nice.
stop? How do you not hit her with the paddle?
Oh, well, I have to sometimes to get her going, but no, I'm only joking.
Everyone. Can you imagine?
No, we talked about this the other day because I've done a hell of a lot with her now. I can almost do it closing my eyes and being the distance away from her that she likes. So she
That's
likes
just
to be
right.
like 3/4 of the kayak, and she likes right there because we see a lot of people out there training like a week or so before the swim, and they haven't even met their paddler, and it's quite a thing, and especially like the feeding and the drinking because she can't touch the boat or the kayak at all.
Oh,
Otherwise,
wow.
it's disqualification on the day. Yeah, so you've got to feed it, do all that kind of thing, and yeah. But I feel like she's done it a few years now, and I've kind of got into a groove. And no matter what I do is wrong, but that's just in general anyway. So it's all right.
That's right.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, like, I knew about the swim, but I didn't actually think about there being a kayaker with the people.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Yeah. So
funny? I
you
never thought
actually,
about it like
so
that.
everyone has to have a kayaker and a boat.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
It's a
So
big deal, isn't it?
oh, it's huge, and it's
Yeah.
such a great experience. Like I said, the one when she crossed over the first time, like I've been involved in so many amazing like adventures and things. I just burst out. I've never witnessed
Oh,
anything like yeah. And the next day, I walked in the living room, and she's like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "I just can't." She was the last one to cross the finish line because it was that rough conditions. They brought the cutoff 2.5 hours in front.
oh, wow.
So it's amazing. Like there's actually footage of her coming in last, and everyone's on the island like cheering her in.
Oh,
Yeah, it was unreal. Like it's one of them motivational things. When I think about it, it makes me want to go do stuff. So
it's goosebumpy.
yeah.
Oh, well,
So
that's cool. Have you done the
yeah.
swim yourself?
No, I haven't. No, I'll stick to land. I think a kilometer is about my like the swim run is 5K, but it's broke up into sections. So
Yeah.
I like to swim about a kilometer, 1.5 at the absolute max, and then there's no one to talk to, or there's no like. It's a bit.
Get a bit lonely.
I don't say boring, but it's like it's very
Repetitive.
not my thing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's cool. I'm glad that you like the kayaking though, because that's
yeah,
a good way to
I
be involved as well.
put my podcast on. I think not last weekend, the weekend before, I listened to Marty's one that you did with him. So
Excellent.
I don't know him personally, but I've obviously seen him around
Yeah.
at some of the running events and that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I put that on, yeah, and off I go. So
It was it's been mentioned by a few people actually, Marty's episode. So
yeah,
obviously it's gone down very well. So that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
yeah.
So is there anything special that you want to put in your training that is going to help you with Delirious, do you think? Or do you feel like
No, I'm
you've
pretty
got a lot of that
cruisy.
dialed in?
I'm pretty cruisy. Like I think like a lot of them, I listening to a lot of the guys on here that got their plans and got this and that, which love to have a plan, but I like to have it a soft plan. Like I just whatever will be. Like that's so. Even with my training as well. Like yeah, I don't really have any specialty or yeah.
Do you have a pacer? I didn't even think about that until the other day.
So I'm doing it with Ben and James. So I'm doing it with two other guys.
So you pace each other a bit.
Yeah, and we've got Corey coming down who's going to crew, and Laura, potentially another friend that I did the marathon with, she may come down and pace as well, but we're not sure yet. So paces are, when I'm running with the guys, we kind of you don't really need one.
No.
I think that's more of an individual side, but with it being 200 miles, we've already had the chat of if things go wrong or somebody wants to sleep and somebody doesn't. The runs we've all done together, we've all been able to stick together.
Yeah.
But that extra 100 miles on top of 100 miles, obviously, is a completely different ball game. So I have thought about bringing a pacer down because we all still have our own crew member and car as well. So if things do go wrong, we've got that sorted.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've never had one before. So yeah.
Yeah. See, I hadn't even thought about it till someone, Stuart, I think, mentioned it the other day. And I went,
I'm most of the time, hopefully I'll make a friend out there and then we end up getting along and then we push each other along. So that's
I'm not bothered either way. I'm sure I'll be fine either way. There'll be plenty of people to run into and run with some people for a little while and by yourself for a while.
Jump onto somebody else and get going until they're sick of you and then they can run off and so that's the plan. But yeah. I don't know. And like think it was Stuart's one where he was on about the spare bladder and all that kind of thing I was listening to. So it was a funny story. I was laughing hard because when we did the 100-mile last year, James, the guy I was running with on the sailboat, his bladder broke 20 kilometers in. So so he turned around and he's like, to the aid station, he's like, can I have this 2-liter Coke bottle? They're like, yeah, no worries. He filled the 2-liter Coke bottle of water, put it in his backpack, and goes, oh, that's my mandatory gear. That was it. And he done the rest, 100 and another 150 kilometers with a 2-liter Coke bottle, and that was his water.
I reckon
which got really annoying how the majority of the time when he'd stop and go, can you please get out the pack for me? I'm like, just drink mine. I'm like...
So he probably had the same water the whole way. He never used it.
So it's improvisation as well. But it did make me think that, especially over the 200, to have a little bit more supplies than normal, I think, because if things do go wrong, you don't want to get stranded and think, well, that could be the difference. So
I was just talking to Andy and Del, and they said because last year was so hot, they actually had their spare or one of their spare bladders in next to their bladder full with water. So they had one full with water and one that was empty actually on them because it was so hot, just in case they needed to fill it up. And then they said at one point they did. So they actually, I guess, were running with basically 3, I suppose. I don't know. Anyway, they were running with extra water than you would imagine because it was so hot and they drank it. So
So I'm getting a few tips off all the guys on here. So like I say, my organisation thing's not really my thing. It's more of go with the flow, and we'll see what happens. Like within reason.
Go through the list and the mandatory stuff, and I'm like, it's okay. I can ask the guys on the podcast.
Yeah. Well, maybe you keep asking the guys that know what they're doing, and then I can listen, and I also know. So there we go. We both win out of that one.
I'm helping, so I won't ask you anything then.
So things. And even though the one side of organisation I have got sorted though is the accommodation, everything for after and before. So that was one thing that was on my list because it's school holidays as well. At that time, so everything in Albany I think is going to be pretty tight to get accommodation down there.
That's good to know, but I got a camper van.
Yeah, okay, well you're sorted.
And a cousin, then, Simon's cousin, lives in Denmark.
Well, okay, well there you go. You asked.
So, we're going to go see him anyway. We'll probably just stay in the camper van.
Yeah, so I managed. I'm quite excited actually because I managed to get a house that can fit 12 of us in Albany Centre, and
that's like amazing.
Mum and Dad obviously have been there throughout my whole journey of when I started the running, and so Mum and Dad are going to see us at the finish line. My wife will bring the kids, and and we'll all be there. So that'll be another motivational thing to pull me through. Otherwise, it'd be sad to be in
a big empty house. Otherwise,
yes, yeah. So the organised side, it's all I think done.
So did you do it or did you?
If it's going to do the computer, Katie did help me out.
Well, there you go. We've booked our flights, so that's kind of...
You've got that extra hassle, I suppose, of having to take everything on a plane as well, don't you? So
I was talking to Mel, and because she's in South Australia, and she was like, "Oh no, we're just driving across." I'm like, "Gosh, you guys, you can she's not even in Western Australia, just driving over."
Yeah,
holy moly! And I've got to think about packing. What to take and what would be silly to take where I could just buy it over there. Just more.
Yeah, and I suppose it's your comforts, isn't it, of what you're normally used to, and but it looks like you've done a fair bit of travelling. You know how to compound everything into a backpack anyway.
I know how to get back on the airline website and buy more luggage.
Yeah.
Good at that.
Yeah.
I was saying to Annie and Del before you that travelling with all the shoes. I don't know if you've had that experience, maybe when you went to Bali or whatever, because I've now got this habit of running with more than one pair of shoes if I'm away for a week or more.
Yeah.
I need more than one pair of running shoes. But now I'm going to be traveling. I'll probably bring 4 or more, I reckon.
Yeah, well, that's a bag in it. That's a bag in itself.
But where are they going?
Yeah.
They're not necessarily heavy, but they're kind of awkward to pack. So it's like, I'm already starting to think about those kind of things and how to deal with it all. I don't know. We'll see. It doesn't matter either way. It'll be fine.
That's it. And I think it was one of the podcasts as well. You pack all these things and then you get home and you haven't used any of them. The amount of events that our drop bags, we get back in the house and my wife's like, what do you do out there? Because you bring it all back. And especially something like Delirious, because the aid stations are so good with the food. Like,
people keep saying that they're really building it up.
Oh yeah, you don't even want to look in your drop bag for food because they try outdo each other and it's absolutely amazing down there. So yeah.
When we do our overnight hiking, we used to take the kids as well, but of course they're all adults now.
Yeah.
But we would always make up scorching, which is like chocolate and nuts and fruit. Yep. And you always have a bag of it in your pocket, and that's sort of what you eat when you're between meals when you're out hiking for multi-days.
Yeah.
So we still do that, my husband and I, but I probably, even for a 6-day one we did a few months ago, I reckon I had a bag and a half. So I brought home 6 bags and then put it all in a jar and it becomes my like office snack.
Yeah.
So the same thing, like with you pack all this stuff and you often don't use it all.
Yeah, but it's always better to have it just in case, isn't it?
I know, that's what I think.
Yeah.
Even though people go, oh, but it's weighing your pack down.
It weighs enough anyway. The packs are sort of just, you get used to it, don't you? After half a day, you're like, okay, well, that's part of my body now. So
it's that initial. I haven't actually put everything in. I keep filling up my bladder and doing it, like putting on my poles and stuff and going out with it. And it's heavy-ish, but it's not anything like as heavy or bulky as it will be once all of the mandatory gear goes.
Yeah, the mandatory gear is a lot as well, so it does bulk it right out. Yeah.
And I know that awkward feeling when you first start off when it's so full. It's like, oh, how am I going to get used to this?
That's it. Yeah.
But anyway, I forgot that to come. It'll be fine. So you're not worried about anything at the moment. You're all cruisy.
No,
a few things with your event, your wife's event and stuff to fill up.
So pretty busy. And then the kids are obviously back at school in a week's time. So then that becomes more of a routine because at the moment it's been a bit of a like jump in when we can kind of thing. So I think the routine, I love having them here and I've been loving having the days off with them and everything, but the routine side, then everything goes back to sort of normal and get back into the swing of things. So
this is where I run. This is when I don't run.
Pretty much. Yeah. So
I understand that.
Yeah.
Not that it affects me anymore, but apart from the traffic.
Fair enough. Yeah. But my only concern for me personally and my goals with the running is I haven't done my marathon this month. And I'm on a nearly 2.5 year stint of one a month, a minimum of one a month. And that one where I was sick was the one. So
the 23rd.
Yep. And obviously Katie's running. Katie's swimming this weekend, and then we get the kids back. So that has been in the back of my mind, and I don't know if I'm going to let it go or what I'm going to do. So
breathe a bit and then think on it.
Yeah, I have a window tomorrow afternoon, but it's 35 degrees again tomorrow after work. So.
How long would it take you to do, like, if you did a 4 a.m. one on a weekend?
On a weekend, it would take me probably, if I went on the road, it'd probably take me 3.5 to 4. So I could do it. I'm just making excuses, and I think maybe if I let that go, then the pressure's not there anymore. So, but I know me, and they'll come to the 29th. I'll be putting the kids in bed and going out there at 10 o'clock at night to go get it done.
Sorry, but 10 o'clock does it not?
I said 29th. It's 31 days.
Oh, there is
30 days.
Like, how many days are there in this? No, it's my birthday month.
So that'll be the Friday. See, so it's already banking up there because Friday is the 29th. I've already thought about the windows I've got. But
well, we do what we have to.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, I had the same. I was running 2 kilometers every day for 600 and. I had it over there, 600 and something, 680 days or something.
Yeah.
Days. So obviously I ran a lot more than 2 kilometers many days, but minimum of 2 kilometers. And when I let that go, when we went sailing for 6 weeks up in Northern Territory, Western Australia, it was like quite hard. But then once I made the decision, that was it. Like I had no choice. I couldn't do it up there. So But once I made the decision, it was all right. I was okay. But.
And I'm very similar. Once I've only fallen into this by accident, but like then once I do, if I say, all right, I'm not going to, then I'm all good once it's gone. But leading up, I will be a little bit like, especially if there's not an actual real excuse not to.
Yeah,
Like,
I've got one.
with
What's wrong
yours,
with you?
that's where it will be. And then for a moment, I'll be like, oh, and I'm like, oh well, whatever. On to the next thing.
Yes, you'll probably
So,
come up with something else.
yeah, so
accidentally.
we will see. We'll see. But as for
All
the
right.
delirious side of things, yeah, just cruise and just see how we go.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad your body's holding out and everything's feeling smooth, especially with I know it's so warm over there at the moment.
Yeah.
Going to fit it all in.
Yeah, you got to do it though, don't you? So
Apparently.
Yeah,
No, actually we don't. We just choose to.
I reckon I kind of do. Like I've said, I think Katie would be pushing me out that door pretty quick if I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So
You do something else.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Take up kayaking.
Maybe.
Or cricket. There you go.
Yeah, well, I've thought about I'm coaching my young fella. I'm coaching Casey's team this year, and it has gave me the itch again, and I'm like, no, then and that might be an option after Delirious, to be honest, because I don't know how much I'll still want to always run and I will always be a part of it, but I think maybe taking a step back and giving the body a bit of a break might be a nice thing, and getting back into team environment and play for a few years. Then he'll be old enough to play with me, so that might be cool. So that's obviously a thing to think about. So
I used to play basketball with one of my daughters. Yeah, and that was lovely. For a couple of years we played in a
nice. So I played cricket with my dad as well. So I played cricket, me, my dad and my brother, so we all played cricket together. So like I said, I haven't played for a good time now, but it's seeing all them so little, and they're playing for he's playing for the same side I played for, training at the same ground I trained at, and it's kind of bringing it all back, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, so I might
that would be really cool.
Yeah, it would be, and I reckon my dad's 62 now, so I don't think he'd be able to do much. But in maybe 6 or 7 years' time, if he could come down and get his whites on as well, I think that would be all right. Granddad,
that'd be
dad,
so good.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. I reckon that's almost paper worthy, isn't it? It's one of those, 3 generations.
Yeah, that's it. So I'm not sure how many would have had the opportunity to do that. So that is something to think about. Yeah.
So cool. All right. Yeah. Well, we could just yarn all day long, and you need to get out and do a run.
I do, but if we went over any longer, I can cancel on them and I don't have to go run 21 kilometres. So,
you can't do that.
So we can push it a little bit.
What am I doing? I need to stop this right now.
So if I ask you another question, how's your training going? And you can just tell me.
James, you need to go for a run. My training's going awfully well. Thank you very much for asking. There you go.
Is it actually though good?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's fine. Good. Yeah, lots of little niggles, but they're just normal niggles because I'm 56. That happens.
Just gotta iron them out a little bit.
Yeah. I just keep going. Going. It's all good. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for sharing with us. It's been amazing to chat and find out why you've got a Hobart Hurricanes t-shirt on.
And mainly because I like to shit stir, so that's
sweet. You have the best training in the next few weeks.
Yep.
Enjoy the events that you're participating in, and we'll talk to you in a few weeks.
Talk to you soon.
And that's a wrap for another Delirious West athlete update. A huge thank you to the athletes for sharing their journeys, and to you, our listeners, for joining us on this delirious adventure. Remember, it's not just about the finish line. It's about the journey, the community, and the moments that keep us moving forward. Keep rooting for our runners and tune in for next month's check-ins to see how their training is unfolding. If you're enjoying this series, we'd love to hear from you. Leave us a review and share the podcast with your friends. Let's all get a little delirious together. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode or an update. Connect with us on the website, on Facebook, or on Instagram. And we'd love to hear your stories and support you on your running journey. Stay strong, stay motivated, and keep pushing your limits. Until next time.